to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Show here. Now, before I begin the video, I do know I said I was not posting until 2 o'clock in the afternoon today, because that is whenever I thought I would get off of work. But as soon as I went over there and was about to clock in, hey, you're not supposed to be here today. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, you're not supposed to be here until later today. We changed your schedule again. They didn't tell me. They keep changing my schedule. This is the 3rd time this week. And they're already starting to give me marks for that. Because I'm either not showing up or I'm not showing up when I'm not supposed to. So now I want to punch my manager in the face, because since I'm not on the clock, she won't help me try and fix it. Even though I'm pretty sure she's the one messing with my schedule. Now, with that being said, this is going to be part 26 or 27, I believe, to What If Deku Had Decay. I've been up since 5 in the morning, my time, and this has been a minute, so let me just try and figure this out. Deku had just said that they were going to raid Overhaul's compound. Now, Deku, he would come to All For One, asking him if he would like to help. All For One somewhat confused. So, you hold no quorums against killing people, slaughtering towns of them, not even people you've known as classmates. But you draw the line at a child. Why? Because childhood innocence is not something you just mess with. What do you mean? Back whenever I was still a child, that is something you hold on to. Something that you lose, and something you find that is hard to get back. Because if you've ever had it, you just want it. I've known that. I've long since dreamt of someone like that. Dreamt. So you never wanted to be a villain? No, not really. I was gonna go pro, but life just fucks you that way, you know? Ah, I see. So, you're here about another quirk, I believe. Yes, but Midoriya, your body is far past its limit already. Even though I've compacted those quirks together and forced them into such a tight space to be considered one, they are still separate from each other. Just know that if I were to give you another quirk, it may kill you. What? All For One, you don't Midoriya, I don't think you understand. Well, I was going to consider you as my successor already. Your successor. Yes, I believe it is time. I will give you my quirk. What are you talking about? I am not long for this world, child. Using my power to give you all quirks. Stronger, yes. But even then, every human has an expiration date. Mine was already coming soon, but as Deku just watches, All For One actually does wipe away the blood from his face. The strain on my body since the last time I fought All Might is far more severe than I even thought possible. Now, I will give you my quirk. All For One, this quirk isn't about me. It's about Shinsho. He needs another quirk. What do you mean? Bakugo's quirk. Offensive, yes. Defensive, no. We need something that he can protect himself with. I see. Well, I will pass on to you my quirk, so that you may handle more power. But just know, Shinsho, his quirk, brainwashing. I believe the Hasaikai have a member who's with a similar quirk. I believe so. But we also have another issue. Toga's quirk, I am well aware. You did try and hide it from me for a second, but she eventually came out and told me. However, I will amend your loyalty. Decay's confused, but he would just hold his tongue. She told you not to tell me, which shows that you are at least loyal to members of the League, but not completely to me. So I will give you a test. As Deku would be told to fight the high-end Nomu. This experiment was going to be my last. I know that. So I tried putting as many quirks into it as possible. I believe it has... This overhaul actually looks questioningly for a second. Deku just thinks that even that's not good. Now, that being said, Kirigiri and Deku... Kirigiri would immediately walk into the room as Deku would just turn around watching him. As that happens, this is whenever Kirigiri would just tell Deku that he was sorry, but this has to happen. As he immediately gets teleported away along with the high-end Nomu. Now, Mina would actually walk in and she's kind of confused. Where's Deku? Or where's Izuku? Well, I did have a special mission for him. But you, young successor, there is one thing I do know you need. What is that? Nana Shimura's quirk. I believe if you know it, it may be a valuable help to you. Who's... Oh, right, All Might's mentor. Now, with that, Deku, him and the high-end Nomu are teleported directly into the center of Alderdon City. Now, people are watching as King Nothing would basically fall out of the sky, along with the fact that on the other side of the city there is a creature that has just started wreaking havoc. Now, Deku, he is somewhat pissed off. He didn't even want All for One's quirk, but if he does have it, it may actually be useful against Overhaul. I've never seen him use his quirk defensively or offensively. But, as Deku's somewhat thinking about this, as the high-end Nomu would charge in. Now, I would go over what's happening with him in this episode, but I want to go over what's happening with Mina and the others first. So this episode might actually be... Yeah, this episode will be longer. I won't cut it into 2 parts, because I know I can record for longer. Okay. With Mina and everyone else, Deku... Well, Deku's being off somewhere else now. Mina would basically tell everyone what's going on, and the men would just be mad as Mina would just basically speak up saying that they're going to be following her now. Deku's busy. The men would just immediately understand, as Mina would basically lead them to Overhaul's base. Now, with that... Oh, hang on. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I just responded to Seth Burnett, or Bernard. Seth Bernard. Speech impediments are not fun. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, man. If I have that wrong, I'm sorry. Now then. Mina and their crew, they would immediately leave. The doctor would quite simply just tell them that he has these bullets for them. With them being so sparingly, keep them in your sidearm, basically. And take out whoever you can. But with the fact that Overhaul, he has quirk-destroying bullets, that will be quite the problem. Mina would just say, no, it's not. Our men are quirkless. So, intriguing. Now, Stain would follow her, In fact, he would actually be very curious as to what this battle is going to basically going to happen. Now, portals will begin opening up right outside the Saikai's base as Bubble Girl and Lemillion, they are nearby. They would see what's going on as they would just see Alien Queen walk out from the portal. They would I want to say Lemillion, he would want to immediately charge in, but Bubble Girl would stop him. She would basically grab him, telling him that if she's here, then King Nothing can't be far behind. As the entire portal just expands completely around the Isekai organization, and the men are just dropping everywhere. Now, as that happens, Mina would turn on One For All, as she immediately just powers up to about 60 to, I want to say 70%. Now, with that, Mina would immediately just order her men to storm the compound, as they would do so. Now, Mina, she would just be walking straight through. She's actually doing one thing I've seen her do in canon, and I really wanted to bring this in, but bringing it in now will work perfectly. If you guys have ever seen her glide around on her acid, like she's using skates, I want to say she can do that with One For All, but with the fact that she can move so fast, it would be very dangerous to try. I want to say that she would work on her special move. She calls this her acid, essentially unstoppable alien, or just, I want to say she just call this blooded actually, where she would coat her entire body in acid and just be running through anything. Basically, if she wanted to, she could run straight through a wall and leave acid marks behind. Now, with that, I want to say that her and her men are storming the compound. Heroes, they're hearing the commotion as they're very confused with what's going on. Now, with that, some of the men would be basically holding off heroes, some of the men are storming the compound, but this is whenever Karagiri would basically open up more portals and bring in the rest of the men that they saved from the prison, as they are now taking out and basically taking hostages. They were told to do so because, well, not only would having leverage stop the heroes, but they would care more about innocent lives than saving people than trying to stop the villains. Now, with that, Mina and everyone is walking through the compound. They are doing so as Overhaul is very confused as what's happening. Kirishima and Shinsho, they would see Rappa again as he's actually right outside the door. He's saying that, some man you are. And here I was looking for a fight. Yet your boss isn't even with you. Boss? He's our friend. Now, as Kirishima immediately hardens up his body, turning on the spikes, and Dark Shadow would come out. I believe round 2 is in order. I have a new quirk I want to test. He would immediately just look over at Shinsho, as Shinsho would just say, I gotta say, I wasn't there for the start of round 1, but... As he immediately just starts by flicking his arms off, saying, this will at least make things fair, right? Oh... Rappa, you know that Overhaul won't, as Overhaul would just smash the man's head into the wall, knocking him out. Sorry about that. Now, you guys are just making me more fired up. If we're going to do this, then let's go. As Rappa would immediately just charge in. He would go to throw a punch at Mina, but Mina would just immediately bring her hand up, blocking it as she would just toss him to the side. I'm not dealing with you. Now, if you excuse me, I have a little girl to go save. Since when did you become heroes? Oh, we're not heroes. We're just not all bad guys. What? She means that we're bad people, but doesn't mean we're bad people. Okay, now you've lost me. I'll explain it to you after I kill you. Now then, with that, Kirishima and Shinsho would just be holding off Rappa, as Mina would start making her way through. Shinsho would basically tell Kirishima that if they can take down Rappa, they can get back to her quick, so let's just get this over with. As they would all start fighting. Now, Mina is walking through the facility, and she would eventually find the 8 precepts of death. Now, she would see the confession guy as he would basically start using his quirk on her and basically just make her dizzy. Now, after a second, Mina would just get annoyed as she can barely stand up straight. Now, with that, I want to say the other guy would try snatching whatever weapon she has, but that does not work. She would just immediately coat her hand in acid as the man would basically snatch that material from her. But as he does so, he finds that this is heavily corrosive. Now then, he would basically burn off his hands as Mina would blitz him with one for all, slicing his head off with black whip blades in her arms, as she begins fighting with the other ones. Now, the guy who can bite through anything, he is very hesitant to actually try and bite through Mina's skin, as whenever he sees the other guy with the crystal quirk come in, he throws a punch, and the ensuing shockwave that got blasted whenever she went flying through a wall covered him in acid. He would just start burning as he basically has to break off the crystals. Now, with that, Mina, she immediately just powers up to 70% and actually starts fighting seriously, as she would come in blitzing them, going for a kick against the guy with the bite quirk, but as soon as he turns his head, Mina immediately just holds out her hand, blasting it forward, as she would just melt through his skin. He would fall to the ground as Mina would begin tearing through the rest of them. Now, eventually this would get to the point where she's able to walk through once again. No. This is whenever she's going through, and she would just find that the entire place is now a maze. In fact, it's all starting to get mixed up on her. God damn it. Now, as that happens, this is whenever Muscular, him and the rest of the League of Villains are actually still on the top floor. They are basically having the world turn around them, along with being confused. Since Mina was already so deep in the facility, they're just trying to stop the rest of the League from getting even deeper. Now, Mina and Muscular can just punch their way through anything, so he just focuses on those two. Eventually, Mina would just get annoyed as she just melts through anything, basically trying to hurt the guy. Now, with that, I want to say she would eventually find Overhaul, but this is where things are going to get a little bit more confusing. I want to say that the League could actually wear down this guy's quirk and eventually get him to stop. Along with that, they would begin by simply finding him and eventually just killing him. Now, Mina versus Overhaul. Mina, she would come bursting through the wall as she just tells Overhaul that quite annoying this is. I thought we were allies, Alien Queen. Come on. Can't believe you'd betray me like this. You really do just follow that guy, don't you? Follow him? I love him. Oh, so that's how you two are. Figured. Well, I'll be sure to send him your ashes in a bag. Oh, you really think that that's going to be so easy? Well, you're all alone. You're facing me. I can manipulate matter or do whatever I want with it. Now then, Mina, she would basically just tell Overhaul that that does not mean shit to her. After talking with Eri, I found that you've done naughty naughty. You rip her body apart and make bullets with it. What kind of father does that to their own child? Not even my father did that to me. Oh, you still think she's my daughter? She's not your daughter? So you just kidnapped a child? No, it's nothing like that. Eri is actually the boss's granddaughter. After an incident where she killed her dad, or I believe rewound him out of existence, I'm not too sure on the specifics, she eventually ended up with us. Now, we eventually found out what her core can actually do. In fact, its real potential. So, as the entire building just begins by shaking, Mina is heavily confused by this. Now, Deku. Deku. No, not yet. Oh wait, no, there's what I was going with. Deku would just come bursting through the wall as Mina is in shock. Mina would watch as Deku would just walk in with the rest of the league. Now, she's actually asking him where he's been, and he would just say, "Sorry, Mina, this isn't Deku," as it would melt away. Sorry about that. Whenever there's less blood, I actually do have to take on the forms. So, damn it. You're kidding me. So, you think that Deku can actually stop me? You're here all... You had a plan, but even you guys can't execute it right. As Overhaul begins to laugh. Now, with him doing that, Mina would immediately blitz him as she would just punch him in the face. As Overhaul would immediately just bring his hand up, he would just pull off his mask as he would just move backwards. As he does so, he would actually just destroy his gloves, as he basically just gets thrown further away from, well, he would just jump backwards, getting further away from Eri. Now, Mina would just say, your reflexes are very shitty. Huh. I'm sorry, but you got faster. Yeah, of course I did. Training. Have you ever done it? Oh, trust me. What's gonna happen today? It's gonna be great. I don't need to train with my quirk. Doubtful. Now, Deku, or Mina, I keep thinking of season 4 for some reason. Mina would immediately just go fighting in against Overhaul. Now, eventually, Mina, she's able to just destroy any of the spikes he can create, but she would be actually hit by the guy who can just have that hair thing where he slows you down. Now, with that, Mina would actually have to charge herself up to around bigger percentages of one for all. She can basically already put stress on her body going around 80 to, well, she can put further stress on her body. Now, I want to boost her up to about 90% as she is going against him. She's actually fighting Overhaul with this, and Overhaul can see the strain she's actually putting on her body, as she's just shaking. You're overworking yourself. No, I'm not. As Mina just immediately lets loose Black Whip. She just lets it go haywire in Overhaul's direction, as she begins trying to take him down. Muscular and Stain would actually come in trying to fight against him, but Muscular would just be impaled through the arm and actually get sent hurtling into a wall. With that, I want to say Mr. Compress would have tried coming in, but he would have just quite simply had one of his arms taken away. Now, Overhaul doesn't really have any of his crew with him, so I want to actually bring in Yeah. Well, he basically doesn't have the quirk destroying bullets. I want to say he does, but he probably doesn't have a gun. Now, I want to actually say that the police and the heroes who try coming in, Tamaki, Nejire, and Mirio, who are basically pros, they got considered to be graduated early and, well, somewhat got put on the hero rankings. Now, they are heavily confused as Mirio would just come into the base, finding that whatever is going on is very crazy. He would eventually find Mina and Overhaul fighting as he would see a little girl. Overhaul would basically just start running over her as Mina would do the same. This is whenever he would actually just basically jump in and take Eri, as I want to say he can phase people, but it would be a bit harder. So he would actually be willing to take the chance on this, as he knows from research from Sir Night exactly what Overhaul's quirk is, along with knowing and hearing reports of Mina's. Taking her down would be a very difficult challenge since he can't even touch her. Now, he would basically take Eri away, and Mina is actually very, very thankful. Who the fuck are you? I'm Lemillion. I'm here to protect people. Lemillion? What the fuck does that even mean? I plan on saving 1,000,000 people, especially against you. Well, start with her. What are you talking about? Get her out of here. I need to take him down. What he's been doing to her, it's cruel. Mirio is confused. You're both villains. Why are you trying to save her? He's using her quirk to try and destroy hero society. But he's ripping her body apart and putting it back together. As Mirio's smile would fade, he would want to attack, but he just would simply get the fuck out of there with Eri. Now, I want to say he'd be ambushed or at least get his quirk taken. Well, not quirk taken, but I'll figure that out later. Actually, yeah, I can just do that later. Never mind. I want to say that he would get out of there and basically get Eri away from the situation. Now, with that, let us cut over to Deku. About a couple hours earlier, Deku is in Aldridge City. And, well, he is ready for war. People and heroes are basically seeing him as Deku would just say one thing to them. This is about to become a war zone. If you don't want to die, leave. Try and stop me. You're basically going to get in the fight between two villains. Two? As the high-end Nomu with muscle augmentation would immediately come rushing in. He would immediately go to hit Deku, but Deku would just turn off his quirk as his punch would collide. Deku didn't have enough time to completely predict where he was or turn on Night Eye's quirk, so I want to say he just erased it for that 1 second. Now, Deku, he would immediately just start using his wind manipulation, along with the fact that he started stockpiling force behind him. Now, he would also slip off his gloves as people would immediately just watch him start manipulating wind and actually creating essentially the turbines around his arms and legs. Meanwhile, Momo is actually doing something different. She is basically just sitting on a rooftop with a sniper rifle. She is just waiting for one thing. She was told that Lemillion, or basically someone, has Eri. Either take him down or just take his quirk. Your choice. Now, with that, they also have another situation. Mina needs help. Momo is just thinking about different ways that she has studied her quirk now. Along with that, her being basically told as dead, that's not going to be very helpful. As she's looking around the scope, she would see Kirishima and Shinsho actually fighting Rappa. She would basically take a shot as a bullet goes flying through the air. As Kirishima is colliding fists with Rappa, he would see this thing get stuck into his neck. Rappa would immediately go to pull it out as he would just look down and see this. He's confused for a second as he would realize this, and Shinsho and Kirishima would just immediately just punch him in the face. Kirishima with his arm hardened and Shinsho with his explosions, killing him by basically blowing off his skull. Now, Momo would just look away at this as that was disgusting. Now, as she pulls the bolt back, the bullet would just come out, the casing, and she would just put another one in, loading it up and actually just waiting to see where she needs to fire. She would basically be waiting as Kirishima and Shinsho would basically go further into the facility, finding Mina. Now, with that, back over at Deku. Deku, he is still fighting with the Hayanomu, as he is producing shockwaves and basically using tornadoes to try and pull it apart. The entire city block is basically being raised as Deku, he's manipulating as much air as possible, lifting them off the ground. He's doing so as he's basically tossing skyscraper after skyscraper at the Nomu and trying to use Decay against it. Anytime he decays it, it basically just heals. Now, he is very pissed off, as he would throw another skyscraper into it and he would immediately just start turning on Decay. As this is happening, the Hayanomu would blitz Deku, I kicked over my coffee, kicking him and sending him flying. Now, with that, Deku, he is sent flying as he would go straight through a building. Now, he's trying to figure this out. How the fuck did you beat this thing? As this is whenever Shell would appear. Shell would just tell Deku one thing. From what I remember about my quirk. Decay. You can spread it around as much as possible, but that's not any use. You need to try increasing how fast and how much you try and decay things. Shell will quite simply just say he has an idea, but he's not going to like it. As he would just quite simply try putting his hands on Deku's head. Deku's confused as Shell would just say, if he can pass over his decay, then you might actually win. If you pass me your decay, you'll die. If I don't, you will. I'm not Mr. Shigaraki. I'm nowhere like him. I'll never be him. But I do care for people around me. I do care for you and Mina. I guess that makes me... what? That makes you human. So we at least did bring you back. Yes, well, I can at least try giving it a shot. As he would try putting his decay quirk into Deku's body, trying to basically advance his own. Now, he would do so as Deku. He would immediately just start having one thing course through his mind. In Deku's head, there is one thing happening. There is a little glimpse into his past. Deku can see what Mr. Shigaraki did to his family. Along with that, Deku does actually remember one thing he did. He intentionally killed his father. But he just claimed it was an accident, until he repressed the memory itself. Deku seeing this is completely in shock. As Deku would just walk out of the building showing off his new transformation. Hi! And Nomu! This is gonna be a fucking great battle. As Deku would quite simply just bring up the dust and immediately just manipulate it toward the Nomu, as it goes flying, forming a spear stabbing into it. Now, Deku would just immediately start laughing and screaming as he puts his hands down to the ground, and he is just tearing the world apart. He just starts bringing his hands up and down, over and over again, as he is tearing the city to shreds. Now, back over in, well, he is tearing the city to shreds as people are being killed and destroyed left and right, breaking down into more dust as more spikes will be formed, flying straight at the Nomu. Now, Kirigiri and All For One are watching this as All For One's is thinking one thing. Not that. That was not scripted. Kirigiri, he might actually do this, won't he? Yes, it would seem so, but do you really think it was wise giving Shigaraki that option? Well, as he said before, he was not human. So, I believe it was right. You believe it was right? I have not heard you say those words in quite some time. Well, I believe it is finally time for me to go. So I leave the underworld to the new ones. In fact, I believe Deku would be the best. He's taken out quite a lot of people. Now, back over to Deku, who is maniacally laughing as he's tearing the entire city apart, throwing skyscrapers, dust, whatever he can at the Nomu, as he would eventually just blitz the Nomu by turning his body into dust and reforming directly in front of him. He would just grab onto the Nomu's face as he just says one thing to it. You have lost, High-End. What do you have to say? As Deku just starts decaying its entire body. The Nomu is fighting back with regeneration, along with the fact that it is trying to get those spikes out of its arms. No, you don't. As Deku just starts turning it up, amping his power. He just completely obliterates the city as the High-End Nomu is standing there, well, laying there, with nothing but a head and a few organs. This is not how this fight was supposed to go. What do you mean? I was supposed to win. So, you're telling me I wasn't supposed to win? It's classic. Oh, I love that. So, can you do one thing for me? What? Die. As Deku brings his hands up to his head, letting loose even more decay, completely annihilating and killing the rest of the survivors in the city. Now, with that, Deku would watch as a portal gets opened up in front of him, as he would walk out of his crater. Now, Kirigiri would just say, it is time. But you must be quick. What do you mean? The others, they're already at Overhaul's base. As Deku's eyes widen and he just gets angry. He just runs to the portal as Overhaul and Mina are still fighting. I want to say at this point, this is in the timeline where, well, Deku, as soon as he ran through that portal, this is whenever Lemillion got Eri and took her away from the fight. Now, with that, Deku, he would just be brought to One For All as, or brought to All For One. I was mixing up all those. and he would just be told that he needs to get there soon if he wants to protect his family. Family? Well, that is what you in the league call it, correct? Yes, it's just you've never really considered it family, have you? Not until recently. Now, this is whenever All For One just put his hands on Deku's head, giving him his quirk. As Deku could feel the pain and the strain he's putting on his body, as whenever the quirk fully transfers, Deku immediately just feels the strain that every quirk he's had in his body put release. Now, Deku, he immediately just looks up as he just thinks rebirth. It's so great. I haven't felt this free in a while. So, what are you gonna do now, All For One? I was going to retire. I believe this is now over. One for All is in villainous hands, and the League has prospered against the heroes. There is no peace, there is only war. Now, as All For One would turn around, Deku, he would immediately just create a spike of dust and stab it through All For One. As he would do so, he would immediately bring his hand up, decaying All For One's mask, ripping into his skull, saying, well, thank you for the quirk, but we both know villains don't retire. As Deku just snaps his neck and his head comes off. Kirigiri, get me to Overhaul. Yes, sir. As he would open up a portal. Deku would just walk straight through as he sees all of his men. Now, people are in shock seeing Deku, as he is just walking through with a sadistic smile. Deku, he just starts running through, as he is stealing and taking as many quirks from the heroes as possible. Now, he would find the hole where Overhaul and Mina are having their fight, as he would come through. Mina is heavily tired as an entire wave of dust would just come falling from the roof, reforming and taking the face of Deku. Deku would just stand up saying, "Ooh, that was not easy. Izuku." As Kirishima and Shinsho would just come busting through the wall. They would just see Deku. Deku looks a little different. Calmer and a lot more sane. It's frightening, because he's never been this calm. Now, Deku would just look at Overhaul saying, you know this isn't going to end well for you. Especially now that I have his quirk. His quirk? I have All For One, my boss's quirk. The ability to take, as he would immediately just run toward Overhaul, and give quirks. As he would just smash his hand into the ground. He would create a shockwave as he releases all of his power from the fight with a high end. The entire area in front of him would explode as Deku just starts releasing off more decay, destroying everything in his path. Overhaul would immediately just start running as he would create a pillar flying out through the top of the hole, coming into the busy street. He would immediately just begin by taking apart and reconstructing everyone around him. Some of Deku's men, some of his own, and he doesn't care. As heroes are watching this ginormous monstrosity in front of them. This thing is bigger than Mount Lady. Now, Deku, he's seeing what Overhaul's doing, as he would immediately begin trying to decay one of its legs. As that happens, Deku would watch as Overhaul would just deconstruct it and reconstruct it over and over again, trying to basically be a little tricky with his quirk. Now, as that's happening, Mina, she would basically somewhat power down, but she's just heavily exhausted. Now, Shinjo would basically tell Mina that she's done enough fighting, and we need to go find Eri. If the heroes get to her, we'll never see her again. You're right. Momo, where's Eri? What is that? Eri is, that guy with 1 million on his chest. He has her. Now, as she would say that, she begins looking around. Mina is so exhausted she cannot walk. She would go to fall over and pass out as she begins to float. She is heavily confused by this as she just does one thing. She just tells Kirishima to basically throw her at Lemillion. Now, as that happens, Kirishima, he would basically hold up his arm as she would begin wrapping Black Whip around it. Now, Kirishima would just say to give him a minute as he would wrap his vines around her. And he would look for Lemillion. As soon as he sees him, he would actually just hold out his arm, throwing Mina. Mina goes barreling towards him as she tries to turn off this quirk. That's not working, so she just turns on One for All and immediately just begins by flicking her fingers behind her. As she would come in flying, Lemillion comes to throw a punch, but he immediately realizes that it's not going to work, as she goes flying straight through him and she would just grab Eri. As soon as that happens, let us cut to Deku. Lemillion would see what's going on as he would want to try and step in to stop the villains. This is crazy! You don't know the half of it, hero. What? Wait till Deku wins. You'll see something really crazy. You can't be serious. But I am. Now, you should know. Deku, he just took out Aldridge City. No way. Those people. You can't be serious. Aldridge or what else? What was that neighboring one? Don't remember. You get those mixed up after a while. They all just become collateral damage. As Lemillion gets angry at her, he would immediately rush in as Momo would just start firing bullets at him. She just starts walking through the crowd as people are watching her. A lot of the heroes are there and they are in shock at what's going on. As this is whenever Nejire and Tamaki would come in. They would begin fighting as they would see Momo, confused as to what's going on. Wait, wasn't she dead? I was, but that was different. Listen, the League, they know what they're doing. No, they don't. You don't understand. Listen, they have some good ideas. Not a lot, but they at least know what's going to happen if you bring Eri into protective custody with heroes. So what are you doing? Well, first off, I didn't want to do this. As she would immediately just create something in her hand and just throw it outward. As they immediately just go to cover their faces, Momo would put on a gas mask and immediately run over, throwing one onto Mina's face. Knocking her to the ground, this would basically help her. She basically forces it onto Mina, as Mina, she just keeps smacking and trying to get Momo to stop. As the gas clears, Momo basically just pulls this off of her as Mina takes a deep breath. What the fuck was that for? Well, if you allow me to explain, as you see Tamaki, Nejire, and Mirio trying to turn on their quirks. What is this? You guys are idiots. You tried to throw away that vial, but I wouldn't let you. So, what is this? Well, first off, it's called an aerosol. Nah, no shit. What did you do? I brought, I put the stuff you put in those bullets, and put it into an aerosol form. Basically, now it's like a smoke grenade. You're fucking with me. No, actually. As Mina would just crack her knuckles and immediately just start by punching through and actually killing these three. Now, Tamaki, he is, well, I want to say the last to go, sadly. Now, Deku and Overhaul. On the other side of the city, these two are just kicking through and destroying buildings. As Deku, ugh, he just keeps trying to use Decay, and he just keeps punching and throwing whatever he can at Overhaul's legs. Now, Mount Lady would have been brought in, as she tries to fight with Overhaul, but as soon as she would make contact, she would find that that's not going to work, as parts of her hero outfit actually got destroyed. Now, she would have also been basically thrown away by Overhaul, as she was sent flying through another skyscraper. Deku would have flown over her and basically tell Mount Lady that she will be of great use to him. No. King Nothing, no, 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 no. As Deku erases her quirk. She would immediately shrink down as Deku would grab her by the face and take her own. Now, with that, Deku, he would watch as Overhaul would see him and just start to grow in size. He immediately just starts stretching as he tells Overhaul, ooh, this quirk is weird. Well, I'm not going to blame it on anything. Overhaul's in shock as Deku just comes barreling in, as he would just lift him up into the air and try to erase his quirk, smashing him back down into the ground. That is somewhat working, as whenever Overhaul does start disassembling, Deku would have to blink sometimes. Eventually, he would just start reassembling things once again. Now, Deku, he would have gotten annoyed as Mr. Compress would come in. He would just say that he's not sure what's going on, but he can at least try to help. Deku would instruct him to stay out of this, but Mr. Compress would, I want to say he wouldn't. I want to say he would try compressing Overhaul, but he would just compress certain parts of the monster he created. Now, this is whenever Deku, he would just barrel his way through and decay through anything left, as Overhaul is left defeated. Deku, he is walking over Overhaul. Overhaul just keeps trying to overhaul his body, but that's not working, as Deku just basically holds on to Rayshard's quirk. This is starting to burn his eyes, but he does not care. You know, using the mixture, it's fun, but it drains your stamina quite a bit. This one, however, does not. The drawback sucks, though. As Deku just bring his hand up to Overhaul's face. You wanna know one thing? My boss's quirk, quite fun, but I wonder about yours. How about I give you a fate worse than death? As Deku just grabs onto Overhaul's face, Overhaul begins screaming, as Deku starts pulling this quirk out of him slowly. Overhaul would bring his hands up to try and stop Deku, but Deku, he would just grab Overhaul's hand and twist it backwards, snapping his elbow with his foot. Now, Deku would pull out Overhaul's quirk and just tell him, I'll leave that to the heroes to decide. Killing you, yes, would be fun. This is personal, however. Actually, that's a good question. I could just pull you apart and put you back together again. What do you think, Overhaul? Does that sound fun? Does that sound nice? Does that sound like something you do to somebody? Overhaul's just laying there in disbelief. He's quirkless? No. His plan, his idea. The heroes, they would have tried to stop him, but without All Might, he would have succeeded, right? You really are hopeless, aren't you? Now, this is whenever Deku would walk back over to the facility, and he would just tell everyone that they need to get out of here, as they would all portal away. Now, the League of Villains, they did lose some members, but no great loss. Eri is confused at what Deku did. Deku would just walk over and give her a little smile, saying, nothing, well, no need to worry. What he did was, he got rid of the bad man's quirk. You got rid of his quirk? Yes, you see, I was given a gift by a friend. He gave me the ability to do so. So I took his quirk away from him. You won't need to worry about him anymore. As Deku brings his hand up. Eri is scared at this as she immediately just flinches as Deku would just pat her on the head. You don't need to worry about him, okay? You're with us now. You will be safe. Eri just burst into tears. As Deku, he would just announce to everyone that they have a little unfinished business. Now then, with that, Deku, alrighty. Well, let's see. Let us cut to a couple, if not 1 year down the line. Deku, he is now the king of the underworld. Now then, with that, he has been considered to be the scariest man in the world. In fact, one of the strongest too. Shinso was given a new quirk. He was given the ability of the confession guy. Basically, he can make people confess and mind control them after they answer his question. Now, with that, Momo, she's tried convincing Deku to let her leave with, well, she's tried convincing Deku, but Deku, he would have just stayed firm in his belief that Eri is safe with them. Now, I want to say that at this point, even though the League is following Deku, they would have tried to take him down. And what I mean by that is, I believe Muscular being overconfident and overbearing, it would have gotten to the point where Deku would have had to start getting rid of some of them. I want to say he would kill Muscular, or at least take him down in a fight Muscular wanted. But Deku, he would not revive him, as Muscular would just think that if he comes back, that would just mean he is weak. He was not strong enough to survive. Now, with that, I want to say that that's Muscular down. Toga, she wouldn't really care as she would just keep following Deku. Mr. Compress, he's a villain. He doesn't care. I want to say he would still follow him. Deku, he has done a lot in the last year. Along with the fact that him and Mina, they do plan on getting married soon. Now, let us cut to a couple years later. Everyone is around, Deku is around, I want to say 23 to 22 years old. He is out in public. People would see him and they just know not to mess with him. As Deku, under this new rule of the King of the Underworld, all the heroes in Japan, basically, he would have killed them in his entire reign, taking them down and actually, well, controlling things from the shadows. He is basically shopping and he would get a ring for Mina. He would have actually gotten this for her as he would go home and propose. Now, afterward, Mina would have said yes and there would be a wedding. Mina doesn't have a father, so I want to say, not the doctor, but Kirishima would walk her down the aisle. And this would be considered the big mafia wedding. People would have tried to ambush it, but Deku would just kill them off instantly by just using Muscular's quirk. Muscle augmentation and basically shockwave and boom, everything in front of him. Now, the night would go somewhat more as planned, except for that little interruption. Eri would be there too, and she's actually happy as she does have friends. She does go to a school, but she is not, well, considered to be a villain. She does actually want to be a hero, but after Deku would basically explain everything to her, she would basically be considered to be the Kingpin's daughter. Now, with that, Deku's whole reign would go somewhat as planned, as Deku has been helping Eri train her own quirk, along with Toga, but I want to say that was a bit weird. I don't really know what would happen if Toga were to lick up Eri's blood and try and copy her own quirk, if she would copy it or her quirk would just cancel out. With that, I want to say that Deku and Mina would have a child. They would have this child, and this child does have a mix of their quirks. However, this child is considered to be the most dangerous boy in the world. With that, we will end off on Deku. Well satisfied. A family, a league, and a king. Now, he's killed everyone in his path that stands in his way and found happiness in the end, along with solving the mystery of Mr. Shigaraki, the enigma to his existence. Now, that is where the series is ending. And sadly, this was going to be 3 episodes long, but I figured I should give it to you guys all at once. Now, I will be drawing for the next What If. Hang on. Okay, the next What If is considered to be full vampire. I'm actually surprised. I didn't think I would pick this one. I was hoping I would pick Prey or Plasmid's Deku. Well, that's gonna be a bit of a bitch to research. I know most traditional vampires, but, well, full vampire is gonna be a bit tricky with the sunlight. Unless I make him a daywalker like Blade. Oh shit, still recording.